Good evening. In compliance with the Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting was provided on December 21st, 2023 by sending written notice and electronic notice to the Courier News and the Breeze, posting on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal clerk's building, and filing with the township clerk. If we could have roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Here.
Councilman Cordilla?
Here.
Councilman Gallo?
Here.
Here.
President Sweeney?
Good evening here. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Approval of minutes. We have the December 21st, 2023 regular session, the January 24th, 2024 reorg, the January 18th, 2024 regular session for approval. There's also the January 18th, 2024 closed sessions making their way around. I know there was a couple minor changes to the January 4th reorg. Looking for a motion to approve as amended.
You're looking for individual motions or one blanket one?
I'll take, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve all minutes as amended.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Township Council reports. We'll start with Councilman Cordillo this evening.
It's my pleasure to report the following activities. I was very impressed the other day when we went to the ribbon cutting of Solaris in Bridgewater. I think the cell technology will be a tremendous asset for people with illnesses. I was very pleased to attend the police department for multiple reasons. Certainly to congratulate two lieutenants for retirement, and also for promotions to sergeant and lieutenant for two individuals. And also to attend a tour of the Ethicon industrial site with a potential buyer for the site, and to discuss possibilities for Bridgewater Township. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Norgalis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Had the honor of swearing in the Green Knoll Rescue Squad line officers as part of their 2024 executive reorganization. Township owes a debt of gratitude to all the volunteers, whether they be rescue squad or fire. Their selfless dedication makes this town a better place to live. Attended the walkthrough of the Ethicon buildings on Route 22 and Country Club Road. A nationally known company is considering buying the building and potentially deeding a portion of the property to the township. Attended the annual Patriot baseball team celebration along with my fellow councilmen as the Patriots get ready for their 2024 season. Co-owners Josh and Jonathan Califer were the keynote speakers talking about their vision for the future. No Patriot get-together can be complete without talking about philanthropist Stephen Califer and the part he played in developing the team in the ballpark 25 years ago. Attended the Bridgewater Police Promotion and Retirement Ceremony. Officer Kevin Florzak was promoted to sergeant, and Sergeant Todd Mealy was promoted to lieutenant. Lieutenants Kevin Lamy and Brian Bath both retired after achieving 25 years of service. Also attended the Solaris ribbon cutting on their soon-to-be operational facility. It's actually a factory located at 95 Corporate Drive off routes 202, 206. This facility will engineer cancer-fighting drugs on an individual patient basis. That is my report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Pedroso.
Thank you, Council President. I attended several of the things that were mentioned today, but I'm just going to focus my highlight. I'm going to highlight basically my time at Solaris. Solaris is a new company in Bridgewater Township. They're in the biotech space. They basically they do cell therapy. They modify people's cells, and by modifying those cells, they can then produce cells that can fight cancer and certainly other diseases. What's kind of interesting about Solaris is that they are the world's first integrated development and manufacturing organization. It's called an IDMO. So basically, they have automated cell therapy into a machine process that can be done mostly by machine. Cell therapy has been done in the past by humans who handle the cell therapy process from one stage to the next, and it's very time-consuming and also very, very costly. Through the technologies developed at Solaris that are now being done here in Bridgewater Township, I'm very proud that they're here in Bridgewater, they can increase the production of cell therapy by 10 times, and they can also lower the cost by 50%. So hopefully this Bridgewater Township will be a hub that will provide these very, very valuable and needed life-saving cell therapies to many, many people here in the United States and around the world. So congratulations to Omar Kudi and Fabian Zhelengos. I probably mispronounced that, but the founders and CEOs of Solaris for coming up with this idea and then bringing it forth and developing it. So it truly promises to be a game-changing technology in this field, which will impact many lives. Also, my last thing is that tomorrow is Groundhog Day, so let's all hope that the little groundhog doesn't see his shadow tomorrow, so we can get through winter a little quicker. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Kirsch.
Well, the Budget Committee will certainly be hoping for a shorter end of the winter season, whether it's Punxsutawney Phil or Staten Island Chuck or whomever your favorite prognosticator is. One item I did not mention last time, back on January 2nd, so shortly before our own reorganization, I had the opportunity to attend the reorganizations in Greenbrook and in Raritan, also the post meeting celebration for Bernards. As everyone knows, Bridgewater, borders many other communities in Somerset County, so being able to support, friends and, fellow councilmen, committeemen, and mayors is certainly a pleasurable part of the job. The Budget Committee met on January 22nd. Among other items that we discussed was our timeline for this year, which everyone can expect is going to be similar to last year. It is a process and certainly needs to be handled as such, with a goal of budget introduction and hopefully budget adoption, likely in the May timeframe. We also talked about monthly reporting that we'll be starting to get from our CFO, so that we can have additional insights into not just the budget side, but also the spending side. And we also had a bit of a preview of what the '24 budget looks like and how we should be looking at things in the intervening time between now and May. On January 25th, I also attended the Somerset Patriots event. On January 28th, I attended, along with Mayor Mensch, the Kaboom Robotics Drone Zone Free Workshop. It's really a very interesting organization. They have a foothold in Edison. They're attempting to also have an impact here within Bridgewater by doing this event. It was a free workshop, very well attended. They will be doing educational classes, and ultimately that will lead to individuals from Bridgewater competing in various drone competitions. On 29th, I was also at Solaris for the ribbon cutting. What I was most impressed by was the story of a chronic lymphocytic leukemia survivor. He was part of an early clinical trial in the middle 2010s, and what was once a death sentence, fortunately, is not. And I think that Bridgewater can feel very proud that literally life-saving work has been done by companies like Solaris, and specifically Solaris in this Bridgewater location, will be manufacturing therapies that will prolong life and improve outcomes. It's just it's absolutely breathtaking to think about the impact that will occur. On January 30th, I also attended the Bridgewater Police Department combined promotion ceremony and walkout that was mentioned earlier. On the land use side, the planning board still has not met because of weather and other postponements, but will be reorganizing next Tuesday. The zoning board reorganized on January 23rd. Jeff Foose continues as chair. Jim Widley continues as vice chair. And they did hear a very interesting case related to a storage unit company. And one of the issues that came up was, can a storage facility become a backhanded way of becoming a warehouse? And that was an extensive part of the conversation. And certainly, I know it's our intention on this dais, and it is also the guidance and direction for our land use boards, that's certainly something that we would be very critical in considering and would want to be sure that anything that could be warehousing is handled very, very carefully. And that's my report.
Thank you, sir. As Councilman Kirsch mentioned, the Budget Committee did meet. We met on a couple different topics, one of which was to discuss the 2024 road program and the corresponding required funding. Administration is working to provide some additional information requested by the Budget Committee, and subject to receiving the requested information, we hope to provide further update at our next meeting. As Councilman Kirsch mentioned, we also discussed the 2024 budget and potential timeline. Committee is waiting to hear back from the administration on the timing for the county to realize final equalized assessment numbers, and that becomes the basis for determining the timeline for our 2024 budget. And we hope to have additional information at the next meeting on that. I won't go into a lot of details, as my colleagues have already addressed, but I also did participate in the Patriots 2023 season-ending recap event, and that's my report. Thank you. Mayor's report?
It's on. There we go. Thank you. The only thing to add, I guess, to what's been said, we have some more information here that we can give to the council, but I just want to touch on the Billion, Klein, and Morton project. As everyone may remember, this was something that started in, 2017, 18. It was, a while ago, and was a project that was floundering. It was a more complicated project. When I became mayor, it was been pending already for, I think, about 2 years. Alan might remember, but it involved a lot of sewer issues as well as the normal paving. So it was sewer and drainage concerns. When Bill Burr first looked at it, the overall project cost was over $3 million to get that project done because of all the sewer and drainage issues that went with it. You may remember that the council, upon Bill's recommendation, had bifurcated it into 2 separate projects, allowing us to move forward on 2 different tracks. And if there's more detail here, you can look through. But the bottom line is that based on the way that we proceeded, it wound up coming in over $1 million less than had been originally budgeted and predicted for the project. So, and it is nearing its completed. There may be a couple punch items left, I believe, to finish up. But as a general matter, the work is done and came in $1 million under what we had otherwise anticipated would.
Actually, we have a resolution on a change order.
Yeah. So
20%, 27% reduction.
yes. So there's more, there's more details on it in case anyone's interested. But I wanted to just point that out. Thank the council for your support in bifurcating the project, and I know for some of the residents it still seemed to take a long time, but it is finally done. Thank the council for proceeding in the way that we had suggested, and I thank Bill Burr for reviewing this and coming up with that plan. So that is my report. I think Mike, did you want to?
Yeah, we have, like Mr. Corsini and I have been looking at various ordinances for potential recommendation to propose amendments, and there is a section 147-4, notice of tort claim form, that we saw that needed to be updated. Address of the municipal building needs to be changed from 700 Garrettson Road, and there were a couple of other cleanup language phrases that we want to propose. So it's literally a five-paragraph ordinance. I'll pass it down if anyone would like to see it, and we would like to have your consent to at least draft an amendment for your consideration at the next meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone have any comments or questions on?
We've always said ordinances are living documents and need to grow, so it's an example.
Okay. If there's not, we will move on. Next up, back to the mayor for a proclamation.
Thank you. As I usually do, I'll read it from down here. And
Suzanne's coming to tell you where to stand.
Listen carefully.
We have a proclamation here to celebrate Black History Month. I recognize Pastor Hobbs is here, and just want to take a moment to thank Pastor Hobbs for all of his leadership in our community. Pastor Hobbs has become a great friend over the time that I've been here as mayor, and the work that he has done, and members of Hobbstown to commemorate the history of Hobbstown here in Bridgewater, and not just remember the past and remember our heritage, but also working very closely with us and with Chief Mitzak and members of the administration on making sure we're also looking forward on how we continue to build our community. So thank you, Pastor Hobbs, for being here. And with that, I'll read the proclamation. Whereas Black History Month is an annual celebration that recognizes and honors the significant contributions, achievements, and rich history of African Americans to our nation, state, and local community. And whereas this observance is an opportunity to reflect on the struggles and triumphs of the African American community, highlighting the perseverance, resilience, and cultural impact that have shaped the diverse tapestry of our society. And whereas we acknowledge the pivotal role played by African Americans throughout history in advancing civil rights, social justice, science, literature, arts, and various fields, fostering a more equitable society for all. And whereas the Township of Bridgewater is home to Hobbstown, established in 1920 by Reverend Amos, General, and Robert Hobbs, which served as a sanctuary for self-expression, economic empowerment, and a refuge from racism. And whereas the founders of Hobbstown erected homes, businesses, recreational spaces in the Macedonia Baptist Church, thereby laying the foundation for a thriving community and contributing rich chapters to Bridgewater Township's storied history. And whereas the Macedonia Baptist Church celebrated its centennial anniversary in 2022, marking a century of dedicated service to the community. And the Township of Bridgewater eagerly anticipates another century of their continued contributions, further enhancing the rich history of the entire community. And whereas Bridgewater Township is honored to recognize the achievements and contributions of African Americans who have played a pivotal role in shaping the history and future of both Bridgewater and our country. Now, therefore, I, Matthew C. Mensch, Mayor of Bridgewater Township, and the Township Council, do hereby proclaim February 2024 Black History Month. We encourage all Bridgewater residents to reflect upon and learn about the pivotal role that the African American community has played in the development and progress of our society, both nationally and right here in our own township. So thank you, and thank you, Pastor Hobbs, for your leadership. So I have this for you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Next up on the agenda was scheduled to be a public hearing on an inclusive playground grants application through the Jake's Law. And I've been advised that the administration needs additional time before a public hearing can be held. So if and when that is rescheduled, we will issue another public notice to that. But the public hearing for this evening is canceled. Next up is the meeting will be open to the public. Any members of the public wishing to address the council on any matter will be allowed 2 minutes to speak unless there's unusual circumstances. Motion to open public meeting.
Motion to open to the public.
All right, one of you can be a first, one of you can be a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the meeting is open to the public. If anyone wishes to speak to, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hello, Council. My name is Ethan. I live in 12 Wendover Place, Bridgewater, New Jersey.
Sorry, your last
Oh,
name?
Chen.
Thank you.
Chen, thank you. Come to you to discuss an issue regarding the scheduling for the Bridgewater and Somerville Court. I assume that's under your jurisdiction?
No, it's actually, so while we have a court here, it's actually really administered through the state. But if there's an issue, happy to try to get an understanding of it, and we can certainly follow up or try to get someone in touch with you.
All right, it's a relatively simple matter, but very annoying. So last Wednesday, I had a court hearing scheduled, and now, as is routine, you get email the day before what time you're good to go. Like, okay, I have an email saying I'm going to go on Wednesday 9 a.m. I have my ticket says Wednesday 8:30 a.m. But whatever. And however, in my hand, I have an official legal notice that is it's a rescheduling notice. Now, being sent by snail mail, I received this on Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember which. And that my court hearing was being rescheduled. The court hearing that happened 3 days earlier on Wednesday. Now, given that they were able to email me my court date the day before, I assumed they could also email me if my court date is being rescheduled. However, I had no way of knowing, and so I took half a day off, went to the court, only to learn that, well, it's rescheduled for next week, and I lost half a day for nothing.
Okay.
And so I was hoping that you guys could tell them to send if they have the time to send me letters, can they also email us?
I apologize for what you experienced. Have you spoken, were you able to speak to anyone in the court office when you came?
Yeah, I did. I learned only an hour later that my hearing had been rescheduled for next week, and I asked I showed them my email you guys emailed me this yesterday, and according to this paper, they sent the rescheduling notice also the day before.
Okay.
So, and there's no way to know in advance. They don't post the thing on the board in the courthouse until the day of. So unless I took my day off, half day off, and checked at 8:30 a.m. that I wasn't on the schedule, I have no way of knowing. And again, if they can take the time to mail this, they can certainly take the time to also email us.
Understood. We can absolutely pass on your feedback, and if you haven't already, I would recommend that you either, at some time when court is not in session, put a call out to the court administrator just to discuss it with her, as she is best suited to address that. If you think about just the court in general, and it's completely separate, really, from the day-to-day operations. We have no control because wouldn't want elected officials influencing a court. So I would recommend putting a call out to a day when the court is not in session and ask to speak to the court administrator about what happened.
All right, but given that you guys are in office, I would appreciate if you guys also talk to them, try to it shouldn't be that much of a hassle.
It shouldn't. No, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to come forward to speak?
Motion to close public input.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next up is introduction of ordinances. As discussed at our last meeting, we have an ordinance introducing tonight. Ordinance amending Chapter 206 entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Section 206-33 entitled Schedule 5, Trucks over 4 tons excluded, to add certain residential roadways to the list of roadways that trucks over 4 tons are not permitted to utilize within the township of Bridgewater. And just for the public's understanding. The roads that we're looking to add are Allen Road from Route 202-206 to Foothill Road, Crossroads from 202-206 to Downey Road, Highland from 202-206 to Hillside, Hillside from Foothill to White, Long Road from Washington Valley Road northerly to the township border. And I will add a note, we've been in consultation with Bernards Township on that one for them to extend it further. Prospect Avenue from Woodlawn to White, Somerset from Highland to Woodlawn, and White from Somerset to North Bridge. Anything further from the administration on this one?
No, the other thing, just to remind everybody, is that we will certainly appreciate the council moving forward with this ordinance, and we will also work with our police department to make sure that we enforce it, because obviously weight limits are great in principle, but we also make sure that everyone knows. So we'll work in terms of both signage and also enforcement to keep the trucks off the local roads.
Okay.
Move the introduction of 11A.
We have a motion to introduce.
I'll second.
We have a motion to second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Ring?
Yes. If we could set the public hearing, please.
Yes, final action is scheduled for February 15th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. here in the municipal courtroom. Public inspection of this ordinance is available on the township website, the bulletin board, and through the clerk's office.
Thank you. Next up, we move into resolutions. Resolution 12A on approving the grant application has been pulled by the administration. That cannot be handled until we hold the public hearing after a reschedulement. So 12B, authorization to execute an agreement with the Board of Commissioners of Somerset County for 2024 recycling in an amount not to exceed $457,785 based upon a fee of $27 per household for services to 16,955 households funded through various accounts from 2022 and 2024. Just for the public's knowledge, if not aware, we do pay a fee to the county for this. It's going up 30 cents this year from $26.70 per household to $27. Anything to add from the administration?
Not on our end, and I thank Councilman Kirsch for his leadership on this issue in the past of trying to bring some sanity to this issue. Maybe it will happen at one point in the future. But
It's actually very timely because just before this meeting started, I received a text from a neighbor who wants to know when they're getting their new recycling buckets. So, anyway.
Mr. President, just
Yes.
a brief question. And this is, I guess, for Mr. Pappas. Just want to confirm that we continue to be on top of the numbers. I know that has been an issue in the past, and that we do, in fact, have sync on the 16,955 number.
Yes, I do want to acknowledge both Mr. Dorado, our assessor, and Mrs. Madrid, who's here tonight, that they have been very diligent over the last few years in ensuring that the process that the county is supposed to employ is actually followed. There is consultation that's needed with the Department of Community Affairs, but when Mrs. Madrid started working on this after Councilman Kirsch began to question it rather in great detail, turned out that Mr. Dorado found some errors of data that the county was using, and since then that has been rectified, and we're pretty confident, very confident in the figures regarding the number of households. Mrs. Madrid is here. Do you have anything you want to add? You did provide us a memo, but do you have anything you want to add? Okay.
And then the only other thing I want to just reiterate is I guess we continue to hope that the dual totes are going to be rolled out. I know it still hasn't come to my neighborhood.
I don't have mine.
So we're told they're coming and that it's a process improvement, so.
Was it last year or the year before we had a presentation from, it was last year?
I think
Or
it
2
was
years ago?
2 years ago, yeah.
So just for anyone in the public that might be listening and wonder, the county has quite a collection of the totes. The issue is obtaining the trucks necessary to be able to use the arm to pick up the totes. The county very much wants to roll it out because it will reduce labor costs because they have one person drive and empty the totes, but the challenge in the COVID and post-COVID era is actually getting the trucks. So at least that was the last update we had from the county. I know they did add one section in Martinsville over the last year, but we still have a ways to go.
I'll move, if there's no further discussion or conversation, I'll move 12B.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call?
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso? President Ring.
Yes. And we're going to take 12C and D together since they're somewhat related. 12C is authorizing Benecard Services LLC of New Jersey, Inc. to provide prescription insurance to the Township of Bridgewater for 333 active retired Bridgewater employees for a total premium of $2,505,491 for the year 2024 to be funded through the group health insurance account. 12D authorizes Delta Dental of New Jersey to provide dental and vision insurance to the Township of Bridgewater for 333 active retired Bridgewater employees for a total annual premium of $353,434 for the year 2024 to be funded from the group health insurance account. I think pretty straightforward, but anything to add?
I do not. Again, Mrs. Madrid is here. She provided some a memo, and if you have any questions, probably one of us could be able to respond to them.
We have a motion on these two items on consent?
Just a quick comment, and then I'll make the motion. For clarity for anyone, it's 333 active and retired employees. The number of lives covered is larger than that. And with that, I'll move the combination of C and D.
I'll second C and D.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso? Yes. President Ring.
Yes. 12E, authorizing the execution of an agreement with the soccer centers located at 300 Memorial Drive, Somerset, New Jersey, and Township Recreation Department for the spring and fall travel in town, junior PSA, high school, adult, summer, and field hockey at a cost not to exceed $154,350. The aforementioned expense will be paid through the registration fees in the Soccer Recreation Trust Fund, resulting in no operating cost to Bridgewater Township. I believe this is pretty much an annual occurrence, so unless there's any questions, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Go.
Roll call?
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Ring.
Yes. 12F, approving the contract of John Mitzak for Chief of Police for a term commencing on January 1st, 2023 and continuing through December 31st, 2025. Any comments from the administration?
Yes, just very briefly, I want to take just one quick moment first to thank Chief Mitzak for the service that he has provided to the township. I mean, I know it's been a long career, but overall, serving as chief over the past year and a half that he's been in that role, I can tell you that in working with him very closely, I couldn't ask for a better chief than we have in Chief Mitzak. He has done an unbelievably stellar job with, running a police department, as well as interacting with the public and being the outward-facing chief that I want and we need. And so I want to thank him for that service. And I also want to thank him for the patience in getting through to this process, and for the council for your patience and understanding. I understand that this process was not perfect. It took, believe it or not, or maybe you do believe it, but it took a lot of negotiation and back and forth went into this contract. The chief was patient with me as I juggled various things. We had a lot of debate and discussion to make sure we came to a contract that we thought was fair to the chief, to the taxpayers, that represents the value that we have in the chief of police position, but also negotiating the various aspects of it. So I want to thank the chief for that patience and for working with me on this, and thank the council. I know that the process may not have been as smooth as I would have liked. That's on me, and we will get better. It's always a learning experience, and sometimes you don't do it perfect. So thank you to the council for your consideration, your careful vetting of this contract, and fulfilling your role to review contracts and provide comments, input, and we will. I've taken note. I understand the concerns, thoughts, and feedback of the council, and it will be addressed. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to,
I have a couple of comments
Sure.
I'd like to make. First of all, I too appreciate John Mitzak as our chief, all the way back from 20 years ago when we had breakfast, when he was the union representative at that time. Luke Daly called me and said, how about you and I and John have breakfast? And we did. I don't know we resolved anything. We had a good breakfast. The contract, I guess one of the things that's frustrated me is this negotiation went on for a solid year before the council knew anything about it. And if there's one change, modification to the process, we heard about it the Friday before the last meeting, and it was tabled for additional discussion. There are aspects of this contract that bother me. Some are petty, like there's an on-call fee, although on-call cannot be paid because of the chief's status. There's a stipend for each year. That seemed unintuitive, saying, hey, if you've got a $200,000 job and you get a call out, that you're going to get funds for it. But anyway, some of the other things, the basic tour is 8 to 4. No reflection on the chief. Whoever helped you negotiate this contract, we ought to use them, whoever it is. The 8 to 4 is the basic tour, but in the process, it says it can be anything the chief wants it or needs it to be to meet the needs of the business, as long as he's available to meet with the administration. So it was frustrating to me in many ways, but I'm glad to see that with the completion of this contract for the next 2 years, we will have John Mitzak as our chief, and I will move it on that basis.
we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further comments?
I'm just going to note that, first of all, we're very lucky to have Chief John Mitzak as our chief. Thank you, sir, for your service to our community. The chief is sitting here today in our chambers, and certainly I appreciate his service. I'm sure Bridgewater residents do, not only for him, but the entire department that he leads. So, as I always say, please do express to the men and women of our Bridgewater Police Department how much we appreciate their service to us. The contracts are give and take. I think that the public should be aware that this council did review the contract. The contract that was originally proposed did go back for discussions. For the discussions, there were concessions made by the chief. Certain things in the contract were changed, and certainly I appreciate that goodwill in the negotiation process. So, as is often the case, contracts are not perfect, but this is a fair contract. I believe overall it's a fair contract, both to the chief and also to our Bridgewater residents and the taxpayers that ultimately pay for the chief's salary. So I will support the contract.
Well, Mr. President, just a brief comment before we go to vote. I also appreciate the efforts made by Chief Mitzak and the department. It's not an easy job, but it's obviously a very critical job. We talk often about the Bridgewater family, about the critical importance that the full department, the critical importance of the full department as they keep us safe, and certainly as the head of that department, Chief Mitzak does an outstanding job, and I'm excited he'll continue to do it for another 2 years.
Thank you.
I'd like to make one additional comment. Two people who I have come to rely on, Chris Corsini and Mike Pappas, have both spoken glowingly about their relationship and support from Chief Mitzak.
And Chris is a tough critic.
I know,
Mike is
I know.
too, but I mean, Chris doesn't sugarcoat it.
That's
Very
the
tough
scales
critic.
of justice, you know.
Yep. John's the best chief we've had in my time here.
I feel sorry for John. Chris speaks highly of me too, so now you're lumped together with me, John. So I don't know if that's good or bad. All right. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Ring?
Yes. All right. Next is 12G and H I'm going to take together. Award of contract to Data Center Warehouse 23041 Avindia de la Carlota, Suite 325, Laguna Hills, California, 92653, in the amount not to exceed $22,416 for the purchase of in-car video systems for the Bridgewater Township Police Department, reaffirmation of prior award. 12H is an award of contract to Motorola Solutions, 123 Tices Boulevard, Suite 202, Woodcliff Lake, New Jersey, 07677, in an amount not to exceed $40,600 for the purchase of in-car video systems for the Bridgewater Township Police Department to be funded from the Police Department Public Safety Technology Communication account. Also, a reaffirmation of prior award. We've been advised by legal counsel we need to reaffirm these resolutions. These purchases were approved in 2023. Between the time they were approved and the PO process was completed, there was a change in the state bid, and further compounded by the year-end accounting process here has necessitated us to reaffirm these previously two approved purchases. Did I say that correctly?
That was really, really well said.
Thank you.
Council President Ring, thank you.
Anything to add?
Just budget rolls over. That's why we didn't do a straight up amendment. It all goes to surplus, so we got to reallocate it. But other than that, I think it's pretty pro forma.
Motion from anybody?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Roll call for consent G and H.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Ring.
Yes. 12I, the award of contract to Verizon has been pulled by the administration. 12J is authorizing an additional $4,000 to Scarlett Doyle, Township Planner, for the professional service contract for the year of 2023 for a total amount not to exceed $64,000. This is due to a change in scope based upon some work required in 2023 as it relates to the shifting of COA from the Center of Excellence to the Hyatt House. And while it says to our township planner, she's now our former township planner as she's retired, but
I'd make a motion to approve this.
we have a motion?
I'm sorry,
Second.
skip better clarification. Why are we back paying?
There was a change of scope in work required last year due to the shifting of COA units from the COE to the Hyatt House.
I got that part. But why wasn't that done? Once we knew that was going to happen, why wasn't the payment done in advance or anticipated to be paid?
Yeah,
Why is
my understanding, and Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, is that what often happens is that, work gets done, the bills get generated, there's a delay between the work getting done, the bills getting generated, the bills get to us, we then look at it, and in some cases, we may say we're not approving, because we do contracts that's not to exceed, so if somebody exceeds a not to exceed, they're not entitled to get paid under the contract unless we authorize it and say, that was a valid bit of work. So between the delay of the work being done, the bills getting inputted, us reviewing it, and then going back on it. The 2023 budget, I think everyone knows this, but just as a reminder, with 2023, the 2023 budget stays open for a year because, we still get invoices now and will for months for, bills that we incurred in 2023. So it's paid out of the 2023 budget, which is why there's a gap with the rollover in terms of, the surplus from 2022 is what's available in 2024. 2023 surplus is not available in 2025. So that's the answer.
And Mr. President, also want to make sure that there's clarity on the last sentence of the memo, that this will be funded through COA. So obviously it is still taxpayer dollars, but it's coming from a dedicated location
Because it was work done on COA.
on behalf of COA.
I'm sorry, did we have a motion? We do, and we have a second. Okay, any further comments? Roll call?
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Ring.
Yes. All right, I'm going to take 12K and L together since they are related. 12K, authorizing an additional $75,000 to K&J Tree Service, LLC, 16 Stony Brook Road, Branchburg, New Jersey, to provide third-party snow plowing for the Township of Bridgewater for a total contract amount not to exceed $150,000 for the 2023-2024 snow season. 12L, authorizing an additional $60,000 to the Somerset County Road and Bridge Division for road salt for a total amount not to exceed $140,000 for the 2024 winter season.
Just a point of information, at 12K, we talk about 23-24 snow season, but yet in L, we talk about the 20. Shouldn't K simply be the 24 snow season, as opposed to 23 and 24, since 23 is long gone? Okay, if we can make that modification, I'll move K and L.
Well, in advance of that, just some brief discussion. Mr. Pappas and I just had this sidebar conversation earlier. You know, that the timing of snow is interesting in that essentially it occurs before our budget is finished. So while this is critically important that we account for it now, we will be taking into account essentially what the near total is by the time we get into budget, March, April, May. Obviously setting aside some funds for what may happen in the November, December timeframe. So, you know, while yes, these are increases, they're really increases over a very low starting point, which was last year. Because ultimately, you know, since we knew that we had a light snow season last year, that's why our budget reflected that. And then, as Mr. Pappas stated to me, over the course of the year, you know, even more money was able to be taken from that purpose and used for other reasons. So, you know, that's my understanding. You know, and as far as K goes, I don't know, Mr. Pappas, if you just want to acknowledge that, you know, under many circumstances, we clear many or all roads with our own employees. There are instances where we need the flexibility, and it is the additional capacity provided by K&J Tree Services done so in a very cost-effective manner.
The only thing I'd like to just comment briefly on is, you know, one, every once in a while, there's a discussion about the use of, you know, contractors. The use of contractors to supplement the public works snow effort has been going on, not just in my administration, but previously. That's something that we've always done because we need extra manpower on certain events like snowstorms, but we don't necessarily need the manpower on a 365-day basis. So we have consistently used contractors to supplement our snow plowing capability, which is more cost-effective ultimately than if we were employing an additional X number of people along with the trucks and the equipment to go with it for use on certain occasions. We've been lucky over the past 2 years with basically no snow events. This year we've already had a few. Hopefully that's the end of it. But we do have I pass it down to everybody who wants it, look at it later. We do have a summary in more detail of all the snow events, the storm, the manpower, the cost used, the manpower, just to give everybody an idea of, well, what's involved in each of these storm events that we've had so far. You know, just to give you an idea for anyone who's interested in the numbers. And the last comment I'd have is that we also have a dedicated snow fund, which is something that, because you can never predict exactly all the weather events, that's something that is kind of literally like a rainy day fund or a snowy day fund. So that way, if we ever have a spike in a year where we can't address it or there's a budget impact, we're not left without the ability to pay for unnecessary snow and other kind of storm-related removals.
So I'm going to pause for a second. I've been advised by our attorney before we have a discussion here, we should actually have a motion to amend 12K to remove any reference to 2023.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
So we have a motion to amend.
That can be done all in favor.
Okay. All those in favor of amending 12K by striking any reference to 2023?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. So with that, we can go back to discussing 12K and L. We would need a new motion to move 12K and L.
Let me ask you a question I think some people may have. You know, the reality is we haven't had much snow. right? So why don't we talk a little bit about why we need to add more money to the budget for snow plowing if we haven't had much snow?
Yeah,
I
so,
mean, residents may be curious about that.
yeah, no, I mean, it's well, it's two things. First of all, what we're doing right now is not adding money to the budget, it's adding money to the contract that was already awarded. We enter into a contract at the end of, I guess, in 2023, to cover, that storm timeframe. So what you can see on the breakdown that we've had is that while we talk about snow, if the trucks have to go out and salt the roads, whether we ultimately get an inch of snow or 5 inches of snow, I mean, obviously, we're talking about a foot, it's a whole different ballgame. But when you're talking about a snow event, you have to have the manpower, regardless of, whether it's 1 inch or 4 inches. If you're salting the roads, you got to cover every road. Obviously, if you're plowing it, you have to do that. So what you can see on the breakdown here is on the different days. So for instance, on Saturday the 6th, 2 to 3 inches of snow. They start at 2 p.m. in the afternoon on Saturday. You can see the cost in terms of, we had 18 contractors over 12 hours. We had the 273 tons of salt used. That's what the manpower was on that day. And obviously it goes through, continues Monday and Tuesday of the 15th, 16th, 17th, and then on the back on the 19th. So, we had essentially within a week, within a short time in January, we had 5 days of snow events, all of which involved, almost, 100,000 tons to a couple thousand tons of salt that had to be put on the roads and the manpower to do that. So that's where we are right now. Of course, we don't know what's coming in in February or March. So the numbers are the numbers, and that's what.
I think it's also important for the public's knowledge. Some towns will build there's requirements on how you store salt. We do not operate a salt dome. We do not store salt because we share a common property with the county for public works through a shared services agreement. We're allowed to purchase salt from them, and we only pay for what we actually use in a given season. But, it's important to note, so far, in January 2024, we spent almost $120,000 on salt for the nuisance storms, where all of 2023, we spent just under $54,000. So.
Yeah. And of course, you can see, like, when we had that one day, which was like the fake snow day, everyone panicked and everything was closed.
Part of it is there's.
And, we went out and salted the roads because everyone thought it was Snowmageddon coming, and it turned out
It was
to
the
be
largest snowstorm in 2 years.
Right. So, unfortunately, you
words.
don't know. And of course, if we don't do that, then it's going to be 10 inches of snow, and, it's all other things. So, but we try to salt, a lot of the events we had this year involved very cold temperatures and kind of that mixture of salt and salt, a mixture of rain and freezing rain. And so we salt as much as we can and, plow where possible.
In the 2023 budget, did that anticipate snow plowing in 2024?
No.
No, the 2023 budget doesn't, but we enter into a contract, not to exceed, but I believe the contract with K&J, whatever the tree company is, covers, it does cover, I think, the end of like the winter season. So when we enter into their contract, the contract is, to handle snow plowing in December or January, because obviously, we could get a snow event on January 2nd or anything else. We go out to bid before the winter season so that we have contractors on hand throughout the winter season. But the contract would be budgeted,
So the 75,000, is it coming out of the 24 budget or 23 budget?
I believe the original amount is coming out of the 23 budget.
The additional amount, the additional
amount,
75?
24, I believe.
24?
Mr. President, if I may, and Mr. Pedrosa, if you're finished, a benefit that we get is we'll know how bad this season was when we go through the budget process.
Correct.
We got quite lucky the last couple of years. We're still somewhat lucky compared to historical norms. And so, obviously, any of these dollars spent are dollars that are valuable. But the good news is we'll know the grand total, by and large, other than anything that might happen in November and December.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we pay the bill.
We got a motion, we have a second. Roll call?
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
It's not like we have a choice. Roads seem to be plowed, yes.
President Ring?
Yes. All right. 12M is authorizing an amendment of Resolution 24-01-04-25 for the appointment of Township Auditor Suppley Clooney and Company, 308 East Broad Street, Westfield, New Jersey, 07090, for the year of 2024 for a total amount not to exceed $64,250 to be funded from the Sewer Utility Operating Professional Service account and the current General Admin Director of Finance Professional Service account. We did approve a resolution during our January 4th reorg. There was a typo in that, so we need to reauthorize it with the correct amount. Unless there's any
Make a
further...
motion to move this.
We have a motion?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Roll call.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Ring?
Yes. I'm going to take 12 and an O together, authorizing change order number 1, final change order decreasing the contract price from $872,445.49 to $838,048.25 for a decrease of 3.94% or $34,397.24. Authorizing acceptance of the project, release of the performance bond, acceptance of the maintenance bond, and final payment to Topline Construction Corporation, 22 Fifth Street, Somerville, New Jersey, 08876 for the 2023-1 roadway improvement project, which includes the entire lengths of Boyle Place, DeSoto Drive, 4th Street, Fulton, Mayor Street, Railroad Place, 2nd Street, and 3rd Street, funded through the 2023 Capital Road Fund. 12O, authorizing change order number 1, final change order decreasing the contract price from $868,480.70 to $631,396.20, a decrease of 27.30% or $237,084.50, authorizing acceptance of the project release performance bond, acceptance of the maintenance bond, and final payment to Insutaform of North America, Inc., trading as Insutaform Technologies, LLC, 17988 Edison Avenue, Chesterfield, Missouri, 63005-3700 for the Billion Street, Klein Place, Morton Street Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project, funded through the 2018 Sewer Utility Capital Fund. I know they're pretty straightforward. I know the mayor already spoke about this one project. Any further comments?
The only comment I have is I'm glad to see the work has been completed, and it's been completed with a cost reduction, and it'd be my pleasure to motion to pass this.
We have a motion on 12N and O.
I'll second.
We have a second. Roll call.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Ring?
Yes. All right. 12P is authorization approving final list of volunteer members of the Bridgewater First Aid and Rescue Squads who qualify for contributions under the township's LoSAP program in the Township of Bridgewater, County of Somerset, to be funded from the 2023 LoSAP account. Just to clarify, LoSAP is short for a Length of Service Awards Program. This is a program that rewards volunteers of our volunteer first aid and rescue squads for their service to the township through a point-based system. For 2023, a member who qualifies will receive $1,458.05. That amount fluctuates each year based upon cost of living increase. And this is just a small token of what we can give back to those people who volunteer through our first aid and rescue squads.
Mr. President, the Joanne Bixler's supplemental page.
Yes, is attached. I'm considering that part of it. If there's no motion, I'll move it. 12P.
Second it.
Roll call.
Councilman,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge, publicly acknowledge all of the many, many volunteers that we have in Bridgewater Township that really we are honored and privileged to have serving our first aid and rescue squads. They really provide an enormous service to our community. They do it for free. They give a lot of their time to this. And not only does it save Bridgewater a tremendous amount of tax money, but they really provide a phenomenal quality service to us all. And they just give so much of their time to Bridgewater Township. So I just want to thank them for everything they do. And I certainly will support this.
Mr. Council President, I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity, since he's here and in person. My father is in the back, snuck in at some point when I was not paying attention, but
45 years, was it?
45 years. I was doing double duty the night of the Martinsville installation, along with the North Branch, I believe it was, installation, so I was not present at the time. But my father received his 45 years of service award to the Martinsville Rescue Squad. So I will, since he's
I
here,
mentioned it in my report at the last meeting because it's a tremendous undertaking, Fred. Congratulations.
Thank you. The very interesting piece about the LoSAP, and Howard or Alan may remember this, but many years ago when LoSAP came into existence, it was because of the person at the time who was involved with the Martinsville Rescue Squad, who may be sitting in the middle of the dais. So it's very, very rewarding to see that program in existence. So thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Roll call.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're up to the roll call.
okay. Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Ring?
Yes. All right. Moving on, we do have a closed session tonight, so we have a resolution, be it resolved by the Bridgewater Township Council that this body will now hold a closed meeting to discuss contract negotiations and litigation. One, and if the matters discussed become public record, this will be made known to the public at that time. The public is excluded from said meeting, and further notice therefore is disposed with all in accordance with Section 8 and 4A of the Open Public Meetings Act. Before I get a motion, I've been told by Mr. Corsini we do not expect any action to be taken following the closed session. Negative. Other than opening to close the meeting. So.
Motion to go to closed session.
We have a motion to go to closed session. I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That concludes our public portion of our meeting tonight. Thank you. could come back in, actually, if he wants.
New York State. I will. New Jersey State.
Out here once.
President Reagan. Out by 9 o'clock with a complicated agenda.
To pee, with a closed session.
County, I guess?
What? We're back on. All right. So we have completed our closed session and need a motion to resume public session.
Motion to adjourn.
We got a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? Second. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. We are adjourned.